Hey everybody, it's Ryan King bringing you your Monday sports update here on KSJB. We'll start off with the big North Dakota high school football playoffs that we had over the weekend. It was the semifinals. We officially have our Dakota Bowl matchups set up in the state of North Dakota. Who is going to bring home them state championships this upcoming Friday? We'll go over it right now. The Dakota Bowl matchups have been set. After a weekend of semifinal playoff football, the following matchups will determine the state champion in each classification. We'll start off in AAA. It'll be Bismarck Century taking on Fargo Davies. So can Fargo Davies, for a second straight year, can they get to the Dakota Bowl and get a win this time? Now remember, last year Fargo Davies was in the Dakota Bowl, but they would lose to West Fargo Cheyenne. So can they get that monkey off their back and maybe get that win this year? In AA, very interesting here. A big upset in the semifinal between Kindred and Devils Lake. Devils Lake would get that win after a missed PAT in overtime by Kindred. So Devils Lake gets into the Dakota Bowl, and they are taking on my team that was my favorite during the preseason when we were previewing the whole season, and that is Minot North. So Devils Lake has already taken down one Titan in the AA state playoffs. Can they do it again against the number one team? And Minot North has been in that number one spot and never moved all season long. So can they finish off a perfect season with a Dakota Bowl state championship? Over in Class A, we have Killdeer in Langdon area Munich, as well as in 9-man. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to be a clash of the Titans. New Rockford Cheyenne Matic and Lemoore Litchfield Marion. We get the rematch of last year's 9-man championship, and that's pretty much, if you've been paying attention to 9-man football the last year, this is pretty much what we were expecting. New Rockford Cheyenne and Lemoore Litchfield Marion both completely rolled through this last season. And here we are again. So last year in the Dakota Bowl, it would be New Rockford Cheyenne Matic blowing out Lemoore Litchfield Marion in that state championship. So can Lemoore Litchfield Marion right their wrongs of last year and get the win over New Rockford? This is going to be a big game in that 9-man classification. So there it is. Those are your Dakota Bowl matchups this coming Friday in Fargo. Bismarck Century and Fargo Davies, Devils Lake and Minot North, Killdeer and Langdon area Munich, and New Rockford Cheyenne Matic and Lemoore Litchfield Marion. Moving on, the Minnesota Timberwolves would make it 2 in a row last night, defeating the Sacramento Kings 144-117. Anthony Edwards is back from that hamstring injury. He returned earlier last week, but he is good to go, and he, of course, as per usual and on schedule, leads the team in scoring with 26 points, and Jaden McDaniels also added 21. So with that win, that would make it 2 in a row. They improved to 6-4. And they will travel to Utah to take on the Jazz tonight. And finally, just some stuff that happened yesterday. The Minnesota Vikings, they take a loss, and I know some Viking fans are seeing my Packers stuff on right now and saying, what's he going to say about them this time? But I'm not really going to be that criticizable about it, I guess is the right word to say, because if you could ask me, Ryan, what was your definition of that Vikings game versus the Baltimore Ravens yesterday? And I have been saying it all season long when it comes to your brand new starting quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. You were going to have some growing pains with him developing as your starter, and yesterday was a perfect example of that. So the Vikings lose 27-19 over the Baltimore Ravens, and J.J. McCarthy finishes 20 of 42 with 248 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. This would also be a very messy game for the Vikings offensive line. And I don't mean it by giving up sacks or anything like that, but there was 8 false start penalties yesterday. Cannot do that, especially when you're playing a team like the Baltimore Ravens who are trying to get their season back and going just a little bit. You cannot do that. 8 false start penalties. I'm surprised the offensive line coach wasn't fired as soon as the clock hit 0. So with that loss yesterday, the Vikings would drop to 4-5, and they will host the Chicago Bears next Sunday. And like I said before, it's just when you look at J.J. McCarthy, you could tell he made some decisions yesterday that he probably shouldn't have made. He had 2 really bad interceptions where he kind of just threw it up in the air and said maybe Justin Jefferson is going to come down with it or maybe Jordan Addison's going to come down with it, but they did not. So Viking fans, the one thing I can tell you, and especially when I have seen it before when it was with Jordan Love or even when it was Aaron Rodgers, they are going to have some growing pains. There's going to be some games where they make some decisions and they kind of make you shake your head, scratch your head a little bit, but trust me, it's all a part of the process. So I'm not ready to give up on J.J. McCarthy whatsoever. He just needs to make more better decisions, get in the film room, realize what he did wrong, and see if he can start next week and get that win over Chicago. So we'll have to wait and see there. Moving over to tonight, just some other matchups to look forward to. Region tournaments will kick off tonight in high school volleyball for North Dakota. So some matchups to look forward to are Kindred and Northern Cass, as well as Valley City and Wahpeton in the Region 1 tournaments. Grafton will be taking on Devils Lake, as well as Thompson and Harvey Wells County in Region 2. Rugby and Stanley will be in Region 3, and then in Region 4 we have Beulah and Watford City, as well as Shiloh Christian taking on Newtown. So those are some region tournaments that are going on in high school volleyball tonight in the state of North Dakota. Also, the NDSU women's basketball team is going to be in action tonight, hosting Concordia Moorhead. The Bison will enter this matchup at 1-1, and they are coming off a 20-point loss to Gonzaga. So we'll see if they can get back on track. Tip-off will be later on this afternoon from Fargo. And finally, as we had said before, the Minnesota Timberwolves will be back in action tonight. They will try to make it 3 in a row against the Utah Jazz. Now, they played the Jazz just a couple of days ago on Friday, and they win that one 137-97 in Minnesota. This one will be at Utah. So we'll see if the Timberwolves can keep it going now that Anthony Edwards is back and see if they can get rolling and get on a good run. And finally, of course, you see my Packers stuff on tonight. That will be a big game. It's Monday Night Football. Philadelphia taking on the Green Bay Packers. It is supposed to be cold, and there is a lot on the line tonight, including bragging rights, as well as some seeding going on in the NFC playoffs. So the first thing to note in this game is if Green Bay can win this game, they will be the number 2 seed right now in the NFC playoffs. Obviously, we have a whole lot of the season to go, but if they win tonight, they will be number 2. If they lose tonight, they will fall all the way down to number 7. So that's a really big one. Another thing, a big storyline that's heading into this Green Bay and Philadelphia game is the tush push. Now, if we remember earlier this summer when it was the NFL league meetings, that was when everything was announced that the tush push was going to be banned, or there was going to be a vote for it to be banned. And the Green Bay Packers were the team that proposed that ban. So a lot of people think that Philadelphia is going to want to do a lot of tush pushes tonight to try to just say, hey, stop our play if you don't like it so much, and maybe you shouldn't try to get it banned. So there's going to be a lot on the line tonight. I don't know what to expect from this game, especially after the Packers played the Carolina Panthers just a week ago and lost that one in Lambeau. They got to show up tonight, and they got to play a lot better than they did against the Panthers. So we'll have to wait and see. Kickoff for that game tonight, of course, at about 7 o'clock. So this has been Ryan King with your sports update here on KSJB. If you need some more sports news, you can go visit our website, ksjbam.com, or you can download our brand new KSJB Sports app. Also remember to give this video a like, as well as subscribe to this brand new KSJB YouTube channel. We'll give you all the news that you need to know if you can't listen to your radio. Have a great rest of your day. This has been Ryan King with your sports update on KSJB.